are ready to ride. Race 3, round 5 of the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series at Bathurst. Cars on the grid. Combined points from the first 2 races determine this one. Harris and McConville on the front row, but the officials have spoken. Andrew Fisher copped a 5-second penalty on his race time for race 2, so he moves back to 5th for this race. Pretty and Walton next, McNally and Dontas on row 5. Jeremy Gray back in the series this weekend alongside Ben Dunn. Sean Carter making a return too and going quite nicely. Tony Longhurst has kept out of the trouble, but this is nothing like a Bathurst 1000, this Ute stuff.
And very unusual to see Kim Jane out of grid 18, so we've spoken about his dramas this weekend and they continue, unfortunately. James Urquhart, best of the Kiwis, 24th on the grid. He'll line up with Noel Edge, who's debuting a new FG. The BF Falcon is no longer eligible in the series. Jared McLeod, a weekend that started with his best qualifying, has just gone downhill ever since. Ben Cavich down the back, Amber Anderson as well in the V8 Knights Falcon. So we get it going, Harrison McConville, and it's the Bundaberg Commodore that's got the jump.
Great start by the veteran McConville. So he'll lead the field by some margin into turn 1 for the first time. Can they get through cleanly?
Yes, 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 yes. I've got to say yes 35 times, you know.
So far, so good. So the big run up Mountain Straight.
On board, Craig Donis. Andrew Fisher right alongside. He's on the right side of the road for turn 2. You saw it on the pacemaker in-car. Look at Pretty, trying to follow his teammate through. Oh, Fisher out wide. Now, Murphy and Ambrose couldn't do it. What about Pretty and Fisher? Side by side, lifts.
Yeah, so Fisher with the line into the cutting there. That's the place you want to be, on the left, not the right. So he's able to get back in front of Pretty. But McConville leading them up through Solomon Park for the first time.
Walton using plenty of curb as they fire across the top of the hill. McConville hasn't won a race this year. He won the last race last year at Sydney Olympic Park, and he's pushing. He's out wide at the curb at McPhillamy Park. Then it's Harris, then it's Cedars, Hansford, McDonald, Donis, Fisher, Pretty, Walter, McNally. On board with Tony Longhurst, a guy who's been here and done it. The winner in '88 with Thomas Mazira in the B&H Sierra, and 2001 with Mark Scaife for the Holden Racing team. Retired from top-level driving, but the Ute guys have convinced him to come and have a play a couple of times, and he's holding his own. He's doing a really good job. Doesn't drive these things regularly, and he's way in front of guys who drive them week in, week out.
Yeah, and it's great to see Tony back out competing. Obviously, a veteran around Mount Panorama, and yeah, fantastic to see him in that Auto 1 guest car.
Chris Walton. Is fighting hard in and among the pack. Suffered from a migraine earlier on in the weekend. Talk about the headaches. Fisher's down the inside. He's giving Dontas one. He's got by. Gets the spot done at Caltex Chase.
So it looks like Fisher's got the angry eyes on after receiving that penalty from race 2. Certainly proved this weekend that he's definitely fast enough to run up at the pointy end of the field, but he's got to pass a few cars to get there this time.
Oh, Jake McNally with a lock-up on the left front. Tom Williamson in the Ice Break Coffee #1 car. And there's Kim Jane we've spoken about. Kim this weekend having a shocker. The result sheet is probably a career worst. Qualified 20th, 17th and 18th in the first 2 races, and still in the mid-pack in this final one.
And McNally finds that flat spot on that tyre again, so he's going to have to do all he can to nurse that car home to the finish, because I suggest there's a big flat spot on that left front tyre of his. Replay, Auto 1 replay of the start, and McConville got a perfect one.
Jeremy Gray just having a nibble at Sean Carter. It's a pretty big curb there when you try to run up the inside. This was turn 2 a little further up the road. Oh, Jeremy Gray did everything but hit the wall.
That's about as close as you dare coming out of turn 2. But Roll Harris now, switch of the lead up front. So the Falcon has got past McConville.
Remember that Cam's 11th in the points coming into this weekend. He's not quite in the championship mix. He could still fight his way up the order, but he's not quite at the pointy end where Harris and Cedars are. But this has been Falcon country at Bathurst. We've been here 8 times with the Utes. Falcons have won 6 rounds. Commodores have only won 2. You're not crying about that.
Well,
with
the
your blue
cream
blood,
rises to the top at, you know, the big events, Noons, and I only wish we could say the same for the main V8 Supercar race. It's been a bit lean for Ford in the past years, but Harris doing a great job. Obviously putting together a great weekend, but he's putting together a great championship so far.
Auto 1 replay here. Ryan Hansford, 4th spot.
Oh, so it was McConville.
I was looking back down the road to see who was doing what, but it was McConville who's locked a brake at turn 2. And you've got to remember, he's just stepped out of the V8 Supercar in the warm-up, completely different car, and braking is where it's really different. He's been caught out.
Yeah, he is massively caught out and very lucky not to get into the tyre wall. Another big brake lock-up from McConville, so again, I reckon he's got a flat spot on that right front tyre and he's going to have to nurse that to the finish. Cedar's now putting plenty of pressure on him into Murray's corner, the final corner. Will he have a look up the inside? He fakes a little bit, but McConville's wise to that.
Remember, too, that in the Ute Series, hang on, there's someone there. It's Nathan Pretty. Remember, in the Ute Series, they don't run a slick racing tyre. It's actually a groove tyre, so it is a compromised tyre for wet and dry conditions, but flat spotting, it still does the same thing. You have a big brake lock up and a big flat spot. What you tend to find is it keeps finding its way back there and you make it worse and worse. Yeah,
like a 50-cent piece in many ways, Noon. So it always gets back to that flat spot. And if you've done it bad enough, problems here for Peter Burnett. He's got more than a flat spot. Looks like he's got a puncture.
And he's in the lane. He'll be done. He's off the road. That's how he did it down at Caltex Chase. We'll come back with more action from Bathurst. Back at Bathurst, Ryle Harris continues to lead race 3, round 5. Oh, Jerry McLeod, turn 2. The McMahon Commodore facing in the wrong direction. They patched this up after that crash in race 1. 25th anniversary, actually, of his dad, Peter, winning the great race with Peter Brock and David Parsons back in '87, running a retro helmet livery this weekend. Did he get helped or did he do it by himself?
Difficult to see. Might have just done that one on his own, Noons, but it is an unusual spot to spin like that, so don't rule out a bit of contact to the rear of that McMahon Commodore.
It's a Ute race. You never rule out contact. In fact, it's normally encouraged.
Well, it is usually encouraged, especially by the fans, but so far this weekend, the boys and girls have been relatively well behaved.
I think what we generally find at Bathurst, though, James, is that it's a big, fast track. It deserves respect, and the Ute guys and girls have been giving it. Just wait till we get to the Gold Coast with all that concrete, though, in a few weeks' time.
Well, you're certainly right there, especially across the top of the mountain. There's no margin for error. Very high speed, and very small mistake can be big consequences in the concrete wall. So let's hope there's a bit of action at the Gold Coast.
We've still got rounds at Winton and Sydney as well, so 2 more street tracks plus a permanent racetrack at Winton. So a good blend and a good mix for the Ute Series. Look at Cedars. You're not going to do it there, but what he's aiming to do is switch it back up the inside. That's what he's trying to do, get the run, and he's done a good job of it.
So McConville's definitely struggling after those couple of lockups we saw him have into turn 2 and then Caltex Chase. So after a great start from McConville, he's slipping back through the field, unfortunately. So Ford's 1 and 2 at the moment, and Hansford sitting back there in 4th would like to make it a podium for the Falcons, which I wouldn't be unhappy to see.
I was about to say, you wouldn't mind that, would you? What sort of car do you drive again?
Falcon, actually.
Oh, funny that.
Yeah, true blue one.
Look at that. Ford, Holden, Ford. Not good news if you love a general. On board, Andrew Fisher. Still trying to fight back after losing a win. Ooh, that's a limiter. Yeah. New lot in car. Can't lie to the engine builder about that one.
No, so Fisher choosing to hold it in gear and on the limiter on the run up to the cutting rather than changing up to the next gear. But he's finding his way through the field. I'll have a look at this for a camera angle. That's the rear diff housing of Fisher's car. So just a graphic shot of how much load and movement goes through the suspension of one of these V8 Utes.
Look at the glow of the discs as he pops the brake on over the top of Skyline, lifts off, now back on it. Look for the glow, into the dipper. Bang, off the exit. Short shift, don't want to get the wheel spin on the exit there.
Into into Forest Elbow now. Important to get a nice clean run. And who does he find himself behind? But his teammate again, Gary McDonald. So we saw these two have drama at that very corner, Forest Elbow in the second race. Let's hope they can keep it clean this time.
I think he's learnt his lesson from race 2 just quietly. It's a great shot to see what goes on underneath the bodies of these cars and the work that they're doing.
We've swapped ends, Nudes. We're now on the front end, right front of the Jesus Falcon through the chase. And they certainly have a look at those brake discs glow. Fantastic shot. And really gives the people at home an appreciation of not only what the car goes through, but the driver as well.
And the brakes. Look at the glow when he's hard on the middle pedal. They've got a bit of time to recover here along Pit Straight and then up Mountain Straight as well. But they've actually really tuned these cars up. You raced them, gee, a fair while back, 2005 from memory. They've come a long way in that time.
They certainly have. The cars were very much stock when I raced in 2005. Now they've got 5-way adjustable shocks, different brakes, different gearboxes. So, yeah, they've certainly improved over the years, that's for sure, and they're a lot faster.
But the thing that hasn't changed is that some of them look like they've been bashed and crashed. Peter Bennett's back on the road. Have a look at the front of that thing.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I think when V8 Utes are always on, the fans always flock to the fences, because there's never any shortage of entertainment, that's for sure. Auto 1 replay of Raul Harris going through the Caltex chase. And nice slow-mo shot of our race leader doing the business so far.
Yeah, doing it pretty comfortably out in front as well. Cedars chasing, McConville still is third, and Hansford still runs in fourth. We'll take a break for the mountain. When we come back, we'll go right through to the flag in race 3, Mount Panorama. On the run home at Mount Panorama, we're on board the Newline in-car camera with Andrew Fisher, the Jesus Racing All About Life Ford, fresh from a trip to the Denny Ute Muster, where, must be said, he was a smashing hit. The problem is that he's put a smashing hit on this man in front, Gary McDonald, in race 2. Lost the win, but he's trying to hang in there, but still good championship points. McDonald is not in the series, so he's not really going to be a contender in terms of how it all washes out at the end of the year.
No, he won't, but even more impressive is the fact that McDonald hasn't been in the series, and he's come in and is running so competitively this weekend. So had a race win in race 2, courtesy of the penalty that was handed out to Fisher, but he's been competitive all weekend, so he should be happy with that.
In fact, that was his 12th career win. Oh, it's getting spicy at the front here. Harris and Cedars, the two guys who have won here at the mountain in recent years, going at it. The two Falcon drivers. McConville, he's going through the grass.
Brian Hansford also lucky to keep it on track there. He had the left front locked and just managed to pull it up in time, but this battle up front is definitely heating up with a couple of laps to go, Noons.
McConville struggling. That flat-spotted tyre is just getting harder and harder to manage. Hansford's locked onto him. McDonald is as well. Fisher's there too. Chris Walton a little bit further back. He's been a really good contender this year, but hasn't quite had the pace. But having said that, hasn't had quite the same experience here at this track in these cars either.
No, definitely not. This will be the first time he's raced a V8 Ute around Mount Panorama, so it's not like your regular circuit to come to. The more miles you do around this circuit, the better you get, and nothing beats experience around Bathurst. But Harris, fresh off a round win here last year, so he knows how to win around Bathurst. Final lap now, and he's got Cedars applying the blowtorch to that rear bumper.
And more importantly, his main title rival, Nathan Pretty, is further back in the pack doing the quick calculator sums. He'll lead the series leaving here, and he'll go to the Gold Coast, his home track in front. Auto 1 replay of McConville doing a bit of surfing out the other side of the grass. Came on to rejoin where he left in third place.
Geez, I don't know what surfing you do, Noons, but usually if I go for a surf, it's on water, not grass.
Oh, I stay on land, far safer. Cedars putting pressure on. Back in the pack here, Jeremy Gray. Tom Williamson has done a really good job. First time here. He's had a lot of help over the last little while from Brad Jones Racing. He's come under their wing, finished 4th in Formula Ford last year, and he's just at the tail of this pack on board with Tony Longhurst in the Auto 1 wildcard Ute, chasing Reece McNally. A 16th and a 12th. Pretty good weekend for a guy who doesn't race full-time anymore.
And I'm sure the series is very happy to see that car in one piece. Only a couple of weeks to the Gold Coast, so all these teams will want to come out of here as clean as possible. But Harris locked the inside front tyre into Forest elbow, and that's given Cedars a chance to get a run on him down Conrod Straight for the final time.
Which way does he go? Harris will park it to the right on the approach to Caltex Chase. Cedars switches it up. He wants that line. Doesn't get it done. Who is good on the stoppers? This is the key. Harris will block the line. Totally entitled to do it. Cedars needs him to go in too hard and too deep. Oh, he's half a chance.
Had to use the curb to help turn the car at Caltex Chase, but Harris, he'll drive up the inside into the final corner. Cedars is going to have to go the long way around. Can Harris pull it up? Oh, he locks the inside front tyre, but he's going to hang on.
He'll get there. Second race win of the weekend, 20th of his career. And he takes the series lead on the grand stage at Bathurst with the next round on his home soil on the Gold Coast. Life's good.
Great haul of points for David Cedars. He'll be second for the weekend, and the experience of Cameron McConville, he'll take the final step of the podium.
Really interesting weekend. The Fords were the fast cars at Mount Panorama, as they've been here in the last couple of years. Those technical changes haven't really changed the results. 3 Commodores in the top 10. Pretty 8th, Dontas 9th. Jack Elsgood, that's a good recovery. He got his way back to position 10. In the points for the weekend, Harris, Cedars and McConville on the podium. Pretty just misses out by 1 point. Fisher 5th from Hansford. McNally and Dontas rounded out the top 10.
Well, Roll, they've been out to get you, but geez, you held them out.
Yes, I don't know where Dave Cedars got that speed from in the last race, but you know, we did what we needed to do to come here. We got the championship lead. We won 2 out of the 3 races.
That championship must be looking not too bad at the moment.
It is. It's looking very good. So I think I'd rather sort of be in front now and then just sort of don't have to make so many calculated risks now. So I can just sort of add the points up as we're driving around the track and just bring it home. Do what Chris Pither did last year and play it safe.